Hi, everybody, and welcome to Healthy Bites. Healthy Bites is a collaboration between Nevada County Media and Nevada County Public Health. My name is Shauna Schultz, and I will be your host today. I am a registered dietitian and nutrition educator for CalFresh Healthy Living. And CalFresh Healthy Living provides nutrition education and physical activity education out in the community. And I'm excited to be here today to show you a recipe that is easy, it's affordable, it's healthy, and most importantly, it's also tasty. So for today's episode, we will be making cauliflower chickpea tacos. And you can find this recipe also on eatfresh.org. There's lots of great healthy recipes on there. So we'll go ahead and get started. The reason why I chose this recipe that is like putting cauliflower into tacos is because the dietary guidelines for Americans just came out. And one of the priorities, again, for this set of guidelines was to prioritize eating fruits and vegetables. And a great way to do that is to sneak them into your meals. So we'll be sneaking them into some tacos today. And it comes out to be really, really yummy. So this is very easy to put together. We'll be using some cauliflower, of course, it's the star ingredient. We have some chickpeas that we'll be using, and then we have some spices. We're gonna roast it, throw it into a taco shell, and put some toppings on it. It's that easy. So our first step is to cut our cauliflower just into small little pieces. So this is about 1/2 of a head of probably like a medium-sized cauliflower. And I just trimmed the very base off, but otherwise you can eat all parts of a cauliflower. It's all edible and it's all nutritious. So we'll just chop it down into some smaller pieces. Some of them kind of naturally break apart easily. It is nice to have the pieces be kind of the same size, or at least generally the same size, because when you put them in the oven, they will bake more evenly that way. You don't want to end up with some pieces that are undercooked and some pieces that are maybe a little overcooked or worse, burnt. So as much as you can get them to be around the same size, that is wonderful. Another vegetable that tastes really great in tacos that's more of a starchy vegetable is sweet potatoes, if you ever want to try that. And mushrooms also taste really well, really good too. Now, cauliflower sometimes you see at restaurants in a lot of meatless dishes, and it kind of fills in for animal protein. And that's great. It's very tasty. It's a fun way to eat more vegetables, but cauliflower isn't equivalent in protein. So what I did for this recipe is added in the chickpeas, which are a type of bean or a legume, and that adds some protein into the mix. All right, so I'm gonna put this cauliflower up here, and we're gonna get everything into a bowl so we can season it. So we'll add our cauliflower pieces in here, and you can see that even just like 1/2 a head of cauliflower makes quite a bit. So you can adjust up or down depending on how many people you're feeding or serving. We'll add some chickpeas. These were just canned chickpeas. They've been rinsed and they've been drained. Chickpeas are really nice because when you bake them, they sometimes get a little crispy. They just get a really nice texture. They bake really well. This is about 1/2 a can. You could use more if you wanted to, no problem. Now, for our seasoning, we'll be using a little bit of oil, maybe like a tablespoon or 2. I have avocado oil here, but you could use any kind of oil that you have on hand, and that's totally fine. For our seasoning, because of course we want some flavor, the best way to eat vegetables and to get kids to eat vegetables is to make them tasty, and we can do that through seasoning. So this is just taco seasoning. I bought a packet of taco seasoning. Actually, I got it from the bulk food section, and I just took what I needed, and that makes it super easy. So it's about a tablespoon there. You can also make your own taco seasoning at home pretty easily if you have a good variety of spices on hand. You just need a little cumin, some garlic powder, some chili powder, maybe some smoked paprika, and you have taco seasoning. And I'm going to add a little extra garlic though. So in here we have some dried garlic powder and then a little bit of salt, and I'm going to add a few little pinches of that just to give it a little more flavor. Now we'll mix this just to kind of get everything evenly coated with the oil and the seasoning. And then our next step is we are going to bake this. And if you roast a vegetable or you bake a vegetable, it takes on a whole different flavor than if you eat it raw or you steam it. And so for a lot of people who might not be the biggest vegetable fan, they really enjoy vegetables when they're roasted. They just get a nice texture. Sometimes they get a little sweeter. They're just really, really tasty that way. All right, so that's mixed up nice and good. We'll get a baking sheet. This baking sheet I have lined with parchment paper. I love parchment paper because it makes for a really easy cleanup when you're done. But if you don't have parchment paper on hand, you can just add a little bit of oil to the pan so that nothing sticks. All right, we'll get everything onto our baking sheet, and the oven should be preheated to 400 degrees, and we are going to put this in the oven and bake it. I'm going to just kind of spread it around evenly here. We'll bake it for, I would start with 20 minutes and check it and see at that point if it's soft, if it's as crispy as you want it, and then you can go, all the way maybe up to 40 minutes. So check it at 20, test your cauliflower by poking it with a knife or a fork and see if it's soft, see if you want it crispier, and then you can keep on baking it from there. I know when I make this at home, I use my toaster oven, and so of course it's smaller, and so it doesn't take as long to bake, whereas maybe a larger oven, it might take a little longer to bake. So that can be your starting point. All right, so I'm gonna get these into the oven, and I'll be back and we'll put together the rest of our tacos. Okay, so everything is all baked and smelling good, and we are ready to put together our tacos. So you can use whatever kind of tortilla that you want. It's actually really easy to make tortillas at home. You can buy masa harina, which is just like a corn flour. At the store, you mix it with water. You can roll it out and you just cook it in a hot pan. And that's really easy. And it's kind of fun to do, especially with kids. I did see a really good recipe on eatfresh.org for flour tortillas, corn tortillas. So that's a place that you can go to get some ideas for how to make them at home. But for today, I just have some corn tortillas that we'll be using, and we are going to warm them in a hot skillet. I like to use a cast iron skillet. You can get it really hot, and it's just really quick and easy to heat the tortilla up, but you can use any kind of skillet that you have on hand. Let's get some of this cauliflower out of the way. We'll put a tortilla in, and you just really want to warm it through so that it's nice and soft. So we'll give that a minute or two. Now, for toppings, I personally think for tacos, the toppings are where the fun is at. So you could really go with whatever toppings that you want. But for today, I just kept it simple and brought some avocado, some fresh lime, and some salsa. But you could put on shredded cabbage, shredded lettuce, tomatoes, anything you want, and it would all probably taste really, really good. So we'll cut up our lime, and what I like to do for any kind of citrus like lime or lemon is just give it like a nice roll on the counter. You can get a lot more juice out of your citrus this way as it breaks up the skin and releases more juice. Kind of fun to do also. So I'm just going to cut this into quarters here. And we'll serve that on the side. I love fresh lime and fresh lemon on dishes. And it's interesting when you use fresh lime or fresh lemon, sometimes you don't need to use as much salt, so that can be good for your health. And you'll get like a nice burst of acidity and flavor. Avocado, we'll just cut into some cubes here. Love avocados. They have nice healthy fat, they have fiber, they have potassium, vitamin K, lots of good nutrients. We'll flip our tortilla over here. And this is nice and warm, so that should be ready in a minute. And then we are about ready to assemble our taco. Let's scooch some of this over so we have some room. Okay, we'll get our tortilla, add that to our plate here. Going to put on here in the middle some cauliflower and chickpeas. I have a habit of overfilling my tacos, so I'm trying to be cautious here. Then it turns in more like a tostada. All right, we'll add some, actually we'll add our salsa next. You can use any kind of salsa that you like. You could use hot sauce, you could leave it off. That would be fine. This is just like a medium roasted salsa. We'll add a little bit of avocado to the mix. That's probably about all we can fit on there. We'll add a little bit of fresh lime. Keep a little extra on the side. And once you have it all in, you're ready to go. And that's it. That's how easy it is. And I also think that tacos are a nice way to accommodate a lot of different eating preferences, because you can have a taco bar set up and everybody can make their own and they can put on their taco what they like. But it's a great way to sneak in veggies. I hope that you get a chance to try it. Again, you can find this on eatfresh.org along with a lot of other healthy recipes. And thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.